what's up, everyone? Cinephile Mike here. Today, I'm excited to be joined by writer-director Chris Baker, one half of the team known as Fitch Baker, the creative team behind the new horror short, The Trick. Fresh off its world premiere at Fright Fest Glasgow, The Trick continues the dark, atmospheric genre storytelling that they've been building through Backmask Pictures, the independent UK studio behind The Trick and Backmask, which has already made a strong impression on the festival circuit. Chris, thank you so much for taking the time to be here today.
Mike, it's a real pleasure. Thanks for having me. Yeah, hell of an
So
intro.
let's start with The Trick. This film creates such a strong sense of tension and unease almost immediately. When you're working in such a short runtime, what do you think is most important in making a horror concept land that quickly?
I mean, it's definitely come from the working in advertising shtick that we both have. Matt's an advertising creative. His day job is to make things happen fast and at speed and with potency. Um, I don't like wasting time on a film, but I think that the story always dominates. So there's a very short story in the trick. You only have a certain amount of time. If I could have made it 3 minutes, would have done. It's really just about brevity and using all the components of cinema to help build that tension. The light, that's a scary pub. I don't want to go for a pint in that pub. The music, the soundscape, and we have an amazing cast that knew every single flinch, every single look had to bring a little bit of terror to things. So yeah, that's a woolly answer actually. But yeah.
And there's a real sense in both The Trick and Backmask that you're drawn to these stories where the tension builds slowly and reality starts to feel a little unstable. What is it about that kind of supernatural or psychological space that keeps pulling you both back as storytellers?
Yeah, I mean, look, I don't, Matt would always say that we're not, yeah, horror isn't the sort of axe he chooses. I like horror. I never thought horror was going to be the genre we'd make first, but it's certainly the most accessible for filmmakers. Let's just say we love the darker side of life. We had a lovely bantery talk beforehand. I like films like Rosemary's Baby as horror, films that kind of like creep up on you a little bit. There's nothing inherently scary really about the trick other than the mood, as you've said, it worsens. And Backmask is the same. Backmask is a descent, as is the trick in many ways. And yeah, I think that there's enough frightening things in the world that if you look at them just through the right angle and the right lens, you can see the horror. And we're more that rather than blood, guts, and scary face, even though there is a scary face. But yeah, yeah.
And you referenced the advertising background, and you also both have a comics and a graphic novel background. So I'm curious, how much of that shapes the way that you direct? Do you find yourselves building the scenes visually first, almost like panels before the film side fully takes over?
100%. I mean, we've made the film on paper before we step on set. It's so important to do that because everyone's looking to you for decisions, and you're not this sort of wizard maestro who can like just on a whim come up with something genius. You've got to say, look, I've got this idea. It's all out here on the page. Everyone's got their copy of the page. Um, you've worked things out with all the heads of department. I mean, that's ad 101. You can't waste money. Filmmaking is an incredibly expensive pastime to have. So
Yeah.
if you're going to bring everyone together on set, you need to have all of your ideas in check. You have to have your storyboards looked and locked, and your DP needs to know what we're shooting because it's 40 minutes to move a camera and set it up. Why? I don't know why, but it is. So yeah, we that comes from advertising, sure. The creative side of telling a story, I mean, filmmaking school for us was making comic books. I mean, Matt and I have made a crazy amount of comic books, if you line them all up in a row. And I think that from doing like one pages to 4 pages to full graphic novels, you have a certain amount of time and money. I mean, each page costs around the £250 mark when you've done it from writing it to inking it. So you do need to think quite economically about what you're doing there as well. But you also want to make it an enjoyable experience for the reader. And I think it's the same with a film. We don't just like to do A and B. We like to flair a little bit. In Backmask, we tried to do some inventive stuff with the camera. There's one shot which is like literally through the roof, looking down through an entire stairwell. And I mean, we thought Cy, the DP, we thought he was going to die up there. It was crazy. Um, but yeah, it all combines to for the craft. And I think comic books, it's a wonderful place to learn storytelling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's talk about your company. Backmask Pictures has such a strong mission statement about creating bold, original genre films that linger after the lights come up. When you founded the company, what kind of creative home were you hoping to build for yourselves and for the stories that you want to tell?
I mean, Matt and I both love genre stuff. We've even got a Western planned but it's just you make the things you can't see, the stuff that you want to see. And I do we Charlie, I speak for Charlie as well, our producer Charlie Woodall. The three of us just we wanted to make something that belonged to us. We didn't want to wait for permission from other people. Um, it's hard. It's hard finding money. It's hard convincing great actors and craftspeople to work with you. So we figured if we did it under a banner, it would help. And I mean, we were really imaginative. We just named it after our first film. So, there we go. That's the kind of caliber of people you're dealing with. Um, and I just think it happened on its own. It became its own thing. And we have our first feature film in the pipeline, which is looking very, very positive at the moment. Happy to talk about it again with you, man. And that is based on Backmask, the short film that we first made. The Trick, it was kind of like a let's make something to as a company, let's try and do something and go back to the festivals and not just be the one-hit wonders. And this time, let's show them we learned. Let's make it at a respectable length that the programmers will bite to. Let's give it that setup and that payoff. And let's try to make it feel as friendly as possible for a film festival. And I mean, we've only as you mentioned in your lovely intro, we did Glasgow Film Festival, the Fright Fest imprint they had there, which was a super big honor because Fright Fest is like the Oscars of horror, in the UK. It's where the good shit goes and comes from. So I was boiled. Wow, that was the best. And Glasgow Film Festival's got some prestige to it, so it felt like this really cool kind of like hybrid. I know we've got into Screamfest in LA, which is that's pretty cool. The Chinese cinema. It's huge. We will probably, I think we've entered it into the New York Horror, Brooklyn Horror, New York Horror Con.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, New York's a really special place for us. Um, but yeah, uh, I forgot the question, but I feel like I answered.
You answered it and you kind of led into my next one. So thank you. Maybe you should be wearing my hat. Uh,
Give me your hat.
um, thinking about, Backmask the Trick, you said you're working on something longer form. So you've established your tone in short form storytelling. And as you're getting ready to expand into those bigger projects, um, how do you what are you planning to do so that you can not lose what makes your work so precise when you expand into feature length territory?
There's a good question in there that I'm going to try and answer. It can be. No, I meant that with love. Um, a lot of people give up a lot of the pie in order to do this. Such a fulfilling job. I mean, it's like that Star Trek film when he wants to go back to the Nexus. I just want to go back on set because it's a beautiful place to create. We don't want to give up that pie just yet. We want to be able to make things our way until we have to start making concessions for people with money, bigger studios. But for the time being, we're a small operation, and I hope we're making a high quality product that people enjoy watching. with our first feature film, we're very lucky. We've had a lot of important people who want to be involved in the project. At the moment, our cast, I mean, I'm super excited about our cast. We will try and retain as much control creatively as possible because if people want the film to be as good as the short, and I think the shorts are good, then they have to at least allow us to do our thing. But there's always you always have to make concessions, don't you, as an artist? You always have to say, well, this is the way you have to do something for this job. And I think that comes on very strongly from advertising. I personally don't do as much of the creative side of advertising as Matt does, but I've watched Matt write award-winning stuff, and it's slowly become, you know, a TV ad. After it's gone through the meat grinder, but that is the business, and I think that the battle to keep our voice intact is going to be a long one, but we'll fight it, sure. Yeah,
And so as you get ready to move into this next project, right? And three is the magic number,
sure
the
is.
magic, the trick. I just put that one together in my own
I
head
like
there.
it. I like what you did there.
What's the
Yeah.
trick? That was as a filmmaker, I love to ask this question. Now that you're moving on to your third project, what would you say is one best practice, one thing that you take with you as you go from project to project? And what would you say has been your greatest learning curve that you try to avoid?
Yeah, you know what? It sounds cliche, but start with the script. If the script's good, most things fall into place really nicely. If you leave room in your script for people to scratch their chins and ask too many questions, it can. I mean, yeah, you're the director, but you're not this omniscient God. You have to have a script that people go, "Oh, I can see this. This is good." I read one the other day, and a friend of mine passed it to me, and I literally was the green-eyed monster in me because it was so perfect. And I just thought, oh, you son of a bitch, this is a fucking award winner. This is a great script. I love it. I can't pick a single hole in it. And I'm sure that whatever crew that person gets together, whatever team, they're all going to be like loyal. They're going to be following him into battle. So that's the first best practice thing. And I mean, for me, I learned from all the heads of department, to be honest. I watched our costume designer, Grace Power. I watched her lug three suitcases full of stuff for a cast of essentially two people, four people when you've got the two girls in shot. And I watched her just like literally nimbly like take all the tags off, bag them, label them, and then put them all back on. And just you just think every detail every the attention to detail of these people is incredible. I need as a director, I need to have that as well. So I journal every day. I just journal because I think as a director you need to be good. One thing, get your handwriting better so that when you make your lovely notes on scripts, people can make head nor tail of it, and you know how to articulate your thoughts, and don't over direct as well. I find that actors spend their days with material and they have ideas. They don't always need some guy to come up to them and tell them how to feel in the moment. They know what they're feeling, but you can listen to them. You got two of these and only one of these. So listening is a super important skill as a director, I think. That was a waffle, I'm sorry.
No, that's great. One more because I know I have to let you go. For audiences who may be discovering your work for the first time through the trick, what do you hope they come to recognize as the signature of a Fitch Baker film?
We are going to make some space for ourselves in your dreams and maybe make nightmares. No, I
It's
hope people just see that we make
perfect.
good stories and, seek us out. That's the main thing. But, life is a bit scary.
Mm. Excellent. Well, Chris, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me today. The Trick, it's a really effective and atmospheric short. It was great to hear more, just not just about that film, but the creative voice behind Backmask Pictures. I can't wait to see where you go next. For everyone watching, make sure you keep an eye out for The Trick and on Backmask Pictures. We'll put the website, the YouTube channel, and all those links in the notes below the video. If you're a fan of genre filmmaking, here are some to definitely keep your eye out for. I'm definitely a new fan. As always, if you enjoyed this interview, please make sure you like, subscribe, comment on the interview. Check out my website, cinephilemike.com, for more coverage like this. Thank you so much for watching. And remember, take a break and watch something new.
Love your vibe, Mike.
Thank you.